This looks awful. This is the worst camera layout I've ever seen. No one's going to buy this. The Nothing Phone 3 can't look like this. The Nothing Phone 3 is going to be Nothing's first true flagship smartphone with high-end specs and a brand new design. So you might be expecting them to go all in on the glyphs, Nothing's signature feature. But actually it won't have any glyphs at all, and instead they're going for this brand new feature that has been done before on other phones but in Nothing's own unique way. But before we get into that, let's clear something up. This supposed leak that's been floating around the internet, it's fake. The Nothing Phone 3 is not going to look like this. I can confirm this because Nothing showed it off in a video where they showed prototypes of the Nothing Phone 3A, not the 3. And to debunk this even further, the Glyph Matrix which Nothing recently showed off just wouldn't fit on this phone. Now let's talk about that Glyph Matrix. We saw animation of this little display on their website. On this display, I'm guessing you can set ringtone animations and do a countdown for taking pictures and maybe even do a timer. But I don't think you would be able to use it as a viewfinder because it's probably too small for that. Another thing I've been wondering, what's the camera layout going to look like? Well, reliable leaker tech bits has showed a picture of the top half of the phone where we can see the camera layout. Here we can see that it has kind of like a triangle design, kind of like the iPhone Pro camera bump. Camera layout is much worse than that because we just got a leak of what the Nothing Phone 3 is probably going to look like officially, and it matches with the teaser that Nothing just put out, and this looks awful. This is the worst camera layout I've ever seen. How can they put the camera right up to the edge? This looks so worse. Like, I get it that it has this element with like this switch, but no one's going to buy this. This is awful. The Nothing Phone 3 can't look like this. For the cameras, we're looking at a 50 megapixel main camera, 50 megapixel periscope like on the 3A Pro, and a 50 megapixel ultra wide, which they finally brought back from the Nothing Phone 2 and Nothing Phone 1 because they removed it in the Nothing Phone 3A. And on the front we got a 50 megapixel selfie camera. Now the screen is very interesting. It's reportedly a 1.5K display, which is very interesting because here's the breakdown. 1080p is normally considered 2K, 1440p is normally considered 2.5K, and 1.5K is lower than 1080p. So I actually think this is going to be 1440p because perhaps it's the horizontal resolution they're talking about, which is not standard and is very weird, but that's what they've done on some Xiaomi phone that I found online. Anyways, the screen is going to be 6.7 inches, which is a little smaller than the 6.77 inches on the Nothing Phone 3A Pro. And it's going to be LTPO OLED so that it can save battery by reducing the refresh rate. The Nothing Phone 3 will be powered by the Snapdragon 8S Gen 4, which a lot of people were disappointed by because it sounds weaker than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, but actually it's almost the exact same performance, and it even has better software support. Speaking of software support, this phone will get 5 years of software updates and 7 years of security updates, so they are finally on the level of Apple, Samsung and Google. Wireless charging is back, but sadly no mention of Qi 2. I really hope they put Qi 2 in this phone. If you don't know, Qi 2 is basically the Android version of MagSafe. If you want to know more about it, check out my Nothing Phone 3 wishlist video. Now here's something unexpected. The Nothing Phone 3 will have 100-watt wired charging. This is bad for battery longevity, but it's also really fast and is a really good selling point. Maybe this is to sell their CMF 100-watt chargers perhaps. The battery capacity itself is slightly improved from 5000 mAh to 5150. CalPay already confirmed the price of the Nothing Phone 3. It's going to be around £800. This means that it will probably be around $900 in the US, since Nothing likes to price their products cheaper in the US. Now guys, that's everything we know about the Nothing Phone 3 so far, and I'm super excited for July 1st where we'll see the announcement of this phone and all the details about it, as well as for the Nothing Headphone 1. If you want to know more about the Nothing Headphone 1, I have a full video on that right here, which you can click up on screen now. Thanks for watching.